Hello everybody, we are going to do an offshore flight with the Airbus H160. Right now we are in the Den Helder Airport, Netherlands, and we are using Bel Air livery for our beautiful Airbus H160. And this helicopter is fiberlight with fenestrant tail. Since we don't have AW139 or AW189, I'm going to use the Airbus H160 for offshore flight. Here are the passengers with me, and some of them are offshore workers, some of them are families, and here's my pilot, co-pilot with me. I'm bringing the tablet, and I will change the GTN 750 to the CMA 9000. We are going to use the CMA 9000 for this flight. I'm changing a couple settings in the setup for the aircraft, and I will also change to the CMA 9000. Here you can see which equipment we can take. It's only a Airbus at the moment, and I'm setting my fuel to the 50%. Actually, we can change the co-pilot to the Offshore version, but she looks like this, so the Hype version is much better in my opinion. So we are going to plan our flight to the oil rig Swift10. I believe it's oil rig 178, as you can see. So we're gonna collect routes. Departure airport is Den Helder, and we're gonna take off from runway 03, and as arrival airport we're gonna type oil rig 378 Swift10, and we're gonna use standard instrument departure. I forgot the name, it should be Baklu, but since MSFS doesn't have that, I'm gonna select the waypoints manually. So kilo data 455, Baklu, kilo data 402, then kilo data 403, then kilo data 404, and then last but not least, we're gonna follow the line, and yeah, with this with this departure, we're gonna clear all of the living spaces in the Netherlands. We're gonna follow the purple line to the oil rig, and we're gonna add the Largo in our waypoints to like build a nicer route. I'm not a helicopter pilot. This is the how I build routes usually. I have no idea is it true or not, but that's the way I do it. If it's false, please let me know in the comments. And this is our oil rig 378. I'm not gonna add money or mobot to my waypoints and make things complicated. It's just a direct line. And we're gonna input our route soon enough. So let's start this beast. First, we're gonna open our tablet for checklist 1, and power up checklist. First, we're gonna go battery 1 and battery 2 on. Battery 1 and battery 2 are on. And then generator 1, generator 2, and emergency generators are on. Generator 1, generator 2, and emergency generators are on. And then DC GPU, but I'm gonna skip right to the array 1 and array 2 on. And then FMS1 and FMS2. And then I will check the DC GPU and the power up test. Power up test is okay, and then I will connect to DC GPU. Let's check that we have a DC GPU. Yeah, we have a DC GPU available, so I'm gonna connect the external power unit, and then we're gonna check the lamps. So lamps to lamp audio, we hear the audio and every light is on. Since the recording is messed up, I'm using a voiceover for the recording. That's why some things is not aligned. So we're gonna input our waypoints. So our origin is Den Helder Echo Hotel Kilo Delta for the origin, and then we're gonna take off from runway 03. So I'm gonna type 03 for the runway, and our destination is Warwick Swift10. That's Oscar Lima 378, and we are copying the Bel Air flight. So our call sign and the flight number is the Bluebell 56 Alpha, so that is Bravo Bravo X-ray 56 Alpha. And we're gonna go ahead execute that, and then we're gonna go for legs, and we will add our waypoints. So Kilo Delta 455 first, and then Backlu. So how we do this, we're just gonna simply type Kilo Delta 455 and click, and then Backlu Bravo Alpha Kilo Lima Uniform, and then Kilo Delta 402, Kilo Delta 402, and we're gonna choose the upper one because it's closer to us, it's the correct waypoint, and then we're gonna type Kilo Delta 403, and then Kilo Delta 404. And last but not least, we're gonna include our Dago. So we're just gonna type Lima, Echo, Romeo, Golf, and Oscar for Dago, and then we're gonna hit execute, and we're gonna check the waypoints via digital map on the inboard MFD, and we can see our route is here. So Kilo Delta 402, Kilo Delta 403, Kilo Delta 404, and then Largo, and our destination Warwick Swift10. I'm gonna set the map to the satellite. I'm gonna check something in the layers, and we are including everything in there except for the AI piece. Then we can continue with our checklist. So pilot MFD, message list check and acknowledge. We have EPA connected, power up test okay, and engines are failed, so that's normal. We're gonna acknowledge all of that, and then we're gonna check our parameters. We are FLI is 0, autopilot error, that's our altimeters, decision altitude is set to 0, and barometer pressure is set to standard. We don't have any radios at the moment, and we have 807 kilo fuel on board. So our heading is somewhere around 340, and we're gonna confirm by checking the standby heading compass, and they are the same. And then we're gonna set our altimeter. So we're gonna click tablet, METAR, Echo Hotel Kilo Delta, and we're gonna look up for the METAR, and we have a nice weather out here, and our barometer pressure is set to 1027. So I'm just gonna click barrel and adjust the weather to 1027, and I'm gonna do the same for the standby. So 1027. So decision height and altitude, I'm gonna use decision height as 200 and decision altitude as something around 100. In this point I made a mistake, and I will change that the decision altitude to 200 and decision height to 100. It's 100. This is not the target decision point. I will set something 120 or 130 for target decision point, because we are planning to take off. We are planning to use the automatic takeoff feature in this aircraft. So position lights are on, and the collisions are set to red because we're gonna start the engines. And signs and emergency exit signs are on, and emergency exits are armed. Forward center console, floats are off, confirm floats are off, and the wipers as required, and ashtails is set to on. Then rear center console, weather radar test, then standby. We're gonna go for weather radar, test, then standby. MFD, DMAP, check as required. We checked, we have our route, and we set this thing up for our requirement. And then VMS page, I'm gonna click on the VMS page and I'm gonna check the thing that I understand. It's very complicated and I'm not very about it, but everything seems okay and expected. I'm gonna check the systems, nothing serious, it's all expected. And also I'm gonna check the other things like and then we're gonna set the weights. I'm gonna set the weight payload as 800 kilogram because we have about 14 passengers and I estimated the body around 800 kilos. And I'm gonna change the crew to 180 because I'm a big guy and she's a lady and I'm like 120 kilos and she's probably like 50, 55, maybe 60 kilos. So. And that's it for the weight. So and then we're gonna continue with the overhead panel, auxiliary pump, and we're gonna set the auxiliary pump to on. Sorry, I forgot. We're gonna check the weight and performance. 20 minutes and 30 seconds is out of bounds, but I think it's okay for this flight. And then we're gonna go and continue with the overhead panel check. So right now we're gonna go ahead and set the auxiliary pump to on, and we're gonna confirm that we have free travel for our controls. That includes rudder pedals as well. Anti-torque pedals. So cyclic forward, backward, left, and right. We have full travel and collector full down, up and full down. We have full travel, and then rudder pedals full left and full right. We have full travel. Then we're gonna center our cyclic and we're gonna center our pedals, and then we can go ahead and close the auxiliary pump. And that's it for our this checklist. We're gonna switch to the second checklist, and that's starting the engine. In order to start the engines, we're gonna set our inboard MFD to VMS, and as you can see, it's already at VMS. So I'm just gonna go ahead and set my engine 1 to idle. And the blades are already started turning, and our M1 is rising. We're gonna monitor the startup. We were expecting our start light to disappear and then idle lights appear at around 50% M1, and as you can see that happened. The M1 will be idle around 80%, and after that, after the idle, we will go ahead and switch the engine 2 to idle. Engine 2 idle. So same thing, we have our increasing torque at the moment. I'm checking something in here. Let's go back. Engine 2 M1 is increasing. We're gonna monitor the same thing again. M start should be disappear around 50%. Yeah, it's a bit over 58%, and startup test is okay, and we are getting our AFCS autopilot errors. And at this point we can go ahead and disconnect our GPU, and then we can arm the floats. So at this point we're gonna do our AFCS pre-flight check. So in order to do the AFCS pre-flight check, we have to enable our AFCS. So that includes auto trim, AP1, AP2, and backup autopilot. So we'll go ahead and arm the autopilot 1, autopilot 2, and backup. At this point I'm checking something because I'm not sure that I binded the autopilot disconnect switch, and yes, I binded the autopilot disconnect switch. So we go ahead and arm the autopilot 1, autopilot 2, and backup. Then we go ahead, overhead panel, and start the test. Flight test check, and we are waiting for flight test to come. Okay. We confirm the pre-flight test is okay. We're gonna quickly cut the autopilots and turn back them on. Anyways, right now my binding is not working, and I'm pressing my autopilot on, but it doesn't work. So I'm just gonna turn them on manually. And at this point, you can go ahead and go to the next checklist, and that is taxi. So right now I'm not using any VATSIM or sanitations, so I'm just gonna taxi straightforward. So before we do that, I'm just gonna set my standby, set my transponder to active and mode C to on, and I'm gonna set my legs to the first page. So how to taxi, how to begin taxi. Parking brake off, check nozzle is unlocked, and I'm gonna set my digital map to inboard MFD, and then we can go ahead and close the engine guards and set the engines to flight position. So engine 1 and engine 2 flight, engine guard switch engaged, message list is clear. Inboard pilot MFD as desired, set with digital map, and landing lights as required, and we're gonna go ahead and turn on the landing lights. So we're gonna go ahead and check the nozzle is unlocked and parking brake is off again, and we're gonna begin taxi with collective up, and we are moving forward. We're gonna do a ground taxi on runway 03. We have wheels, so we can use them. We are turning left from here, and I'm gonna turn right to enter the the one thing that I noticed with taxiing the H160, it's very wobbly on the ground, and I'm not sure it's a real life behavior or it's a bug in the FS24, but it can be wobbly. And we're gonna go ahead and start our clock, but I'm such an idiot, I forgot that I pressed the decision height there. That's why I couldn't stop my clock. And after clicking the decision height, we're gonna start our clock and we're gonna time our flight. We are approaching for runway. So I told you that we are going to do an automatic takeoff today. Automatic takeoff is basically self-explanatory. We're gonna pull into a inbound effect hover at around 6 feet, and then we're gonna click one button and it will take the helicopter up to the target decision point slowly. At that we're gonna perform all takeoff. So we are Bluebell 56 Alpha entering runway 03, and then we're gonna apply some brakes to stop. So in order to do the automatic takeoff, I'm gonna set my parking brake on, set my NR high on. NR high is something that needs to set before takeoff. It's basically set the NR to the value of 105. Right now I'm doing the before takeoff checklist. I'm checking the transponder, I'm checking the decision heights and decision altitudes. I'm gonna check one more thing in here. And that's the no graph, and no graph is not set to date. I'm gonna fix that too soon. Anyways, let's go back to the legs, and we're gonna turn off. I'm gonna check the parking brake on again. We're gonna clear the upper mods. We're gonna set our altitude aircraft somewhere near 2000 feet because we're gonna climb to 2000 feet after we departure. You can go ahead and check the takeoff from helipad. So that means parking brake is on, and our high is set to on. And as you can see, the NR will slowly climb to the 105. And after that, you can check the decision altitude, type, height, and environmental settings once again. And then hover subformat is selected. And we're gonna click takeoff mode, and we're gonna set it to reroute or vertical takeoff. We're just gonna select vertical takeoff, and we're gonna set our target decision point at 120 feet. And to perform the automatic takeoff procedure, we're gonna set the helicopter into a 6 feet hover, and then engage the hover holds uppermost on. So I'm gonna press and hold to release. I will take off, and then I will enable hover hold on at near 6 feet. So I'm gonna check one more thing, one more binding. And that's the MSFS is messing with my controls. So after that, I'm just gonna press trim release, pull up some collective, gently lift the helicopter off from the ground and put it into a 5 feet, 6 feet hover, and then I will engage the hover hold. And hover hold is engaged. It will hold the hover at around 6 feet to 5 feet hover. And I'm gonna monitor the torque values and the TOTs. We have enough power to maintain the hover at the moment. So I'm just gonna press the go around button. So if something happens to the engines in vertical takeoff, let's say we're gonna lose an engine, the vertical takeoff green sign will disappear, and then the rejected sign will appear, and it will put us the helicopter to where we take off. So we are slowly take off, and we are watching the VMS, the engine values, and we are slowly climbing to the target decision point. I'm not doing anything at the moment. I'm not touching any controls. It's all manual. It's all automatic. I'm just sitting here in the cockpit and I'm watching the things go. So right now we are slowly reaching the target decision point, and don't see anything wrong with the engine, so I'm just gonna press the go around button to perform go around. The go around button will make us climb with dedicated vertical speed, and it also speed our helicopter to the VY speed. And once we reach the VY, the best climb speed, the NR high will automatically turn off, and then we can go ahead and set the parking brake to off, and then landing gear up. Landing gear up. And then I'm just gonna basically couple the FMS and set my altitude to 2000 feet and climb to the 2000 feet. At this moment, it's gonna be a long cruise. There are a couple of things that I'm doing slowly. I'm gonna set my hover submerging to HSI, and then I'm gonna couple to the FMS, and it will basically follow the route that we did. And once we reach 2000 feet, I'm gonna increase my speed to 120. And I'm also doing the last but not least checklist, and I'm doing the climb checklist and confirm that I set everything correct. So I'm just gonna shut up for a while and let you enjoy the cruise. So we are 10 miles behind of the offshore rig, and we're gonna start our descent, and we're gonna slow the helicopter down. So I'm basically checking everything once again. I'm checking the flight level, FLI. I'm checking decision altitudes, decision heights. I'm not gonna change them. I'm checking fuel status. I'm basically checking what are the things that I have to do, because it's basically like all of a sudden thing, and I don't want to do all of a sudden movements. I want to plan all of them and I engage accordingly. So right now I'm beginning our descent to the 500 feet. It's a little bit early for that. I will also slow down way early than I thought. So 500 feet is selected, and we are waiting to descend. At this moment we are 4 minutes out. So at this moment I started to slow down to the VY speed. It's a little bit early, I shouldn't have done that this early. But like I told you guys, I'm not a real helicopter pilot. Parking brake is set to off, nozzle is locked, and sorry, parking brake is set on, nozzle is locked, and landing gear is done, and landing lights are on. So we have a direct visual to the oil rig, and at this moment I cancel out all of the upper modes and I will hand fly the aircraft. We are around 50 knots and I'm slowly beginning to descend. I can confirm that our landing gear is done, turning green, there's nozzle is locked, and pocket brake is set on. I'm closing the top belt so I can get a better visual to the helipad. I will for now flying into the wind, and then at the last time I will make a quick movement with my pedals to align the helipad. So we are very slowly approaching to the helipad. We are around 200 feet, 220 feet. We are slowly approaching to the helipad. This helipad called, this oil rig called Swift10, and and the code is in the MSFS is the Oscar Lima 378. So I'm doing my radar input to the left, slowly move to the forward, and I will do my touchdown in 3, 2, 1. Touchdown. Collective done, and I will set my engines to idle. It's not a great touchdown, but it's in a point that I will make my engines to idle and let the crew disembark the plane. So thank you for watching me. Thank you for listening me. Have a nice day, and please inform me if you spot any mistakes so I can improve myself. See ya.